People ask me all the time, what's the best thing to invest in? What's the best way to make money in the markets? And how do I not lose any money? Well, in this video, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you the steps and the secrets of how not to lose money in the markets, but also some of the most important things to understand on how to make a ton of money in the stock market. And it's not what you think. It's not some magic stock, some magic ETF, some magic strategy, some, Forex exchange. It's nothing like that. Wouldn't you like to know what the actual secret is to making money in the markets? Well, that's what we're gonna hit. My name's Chris Naugle, and this is What Now? What's next? So I think it's important to understand some of the things that really play into your decisions when you invest money. But not just the decision of what you should invest in or when you should invest or how much you should invest, but also the decision of when you shouldn't invest. The decision of when you should sell an investment that you've been holding. The decision of when and when not to do something is one of the most important things. But let me transition, because there's another story I want to tell you, and it's a story of a father. And this one really related to me. I read this in a book. It's a story most of you know about, but I'm going to tell it again because it's so vitally important. Whatever your decision is for investing money, for saving money, do you know why you do it? That's the single most important thing I want to ask you. Do you know why you invest money? What is the goal? What's the end goal? When is it going to happen? How much do you need? When you start investing, do you know how much you want to build it to? Do you have a definitive amount you're trying to build up to? I mean, is it $1 million? Is it 10 million? Is it 100 million? What is it? Or do you not know? Do you have a defined rate of return you're trying to target? Do you know what problem you're trying to solve with the money you accumulate through your investments? If you don't know any of these, then that's where you start. And that's where the story starts. The story is about a father who's talking to his son. And as all fathers, we all want to teach our children important lessons. As Bruce Lee said about his son, he said, instead of buying your children all the things that you never had, why not teach them all the things you were never taught? And I think there's a lot to be said about that. Think about it. What were you not taught by your parents that could have really prepared you for life, could have prepared you better financially? Well, it comes back to the father and the son story. The father's talking to his son, and he asks his son a single question. Son, would you rather buy a goose, or would you rather buy a golden egg? And the son thought about this for a while, and he said, did the goose lay the golden eggs? And the father said, yes, the goose did lay the golden eggs. So the son very quickly said, well, Dad, I would buy the goose that laid the golden eggs. And the father said, that's the right decision. Now let me pause there. How many of you would have said you would have bought the goose? All of you, right? In hindsight, you'd be like, of course I'd buy the goose. Even if you didn't know the goose laid the golden eggs, would you still buy the goose if you didn't know the goose laid the golden eggs? Now, that's a question, isn't it? So he went on talking to his son. He said, son, I'm glad you answered the question with the goose, but in life, what you're going to find is most people spend money and buy the golden eggs. I drew a picture here of the goose that laid the golden eggs, the story that you've all heard of. Which one do you want to buy? Well, of course you want to buy the goose that lays the golden egg. But what are you actually doing in life? You're buying the golden eggs. And what are the golden eggs? Well, the golden eggs are all the material things we like cars, and the houses, and the watches, and all the fancy clothes that we buy. All the things that make us feel like we're successful. All the things that make us seem to others like we're successful. That's what we do. We work hard, trading our hours for dollars to buy the golden eggs, the things in life. But you see, in life, the most valuable things are the things we get for free. So when you think about the goose, who is the goose? The goose is you. The more you invest in yourself, the more you invest in your worthy idea, the more money you put into you, the golden goose, the more golden eggs you can lay. Because if the goose, yourself, has the knowledge and the understanding, the goose can lay an unlimited amount of golden eggs. You can have anything you want. But we gotta change the way we think about things. We gotta stop taking traditional advice. We gotta stop conforming and doing what everybody else does. We don't even know why we do it. We just follow and do what everybody else does. Oh, put money in a 401k. Oh, put money in the bank. That's where you should save it. Oh, they got CDs paying an interest rate for 6 months. Put your money in the CD. Do what everybody else does, right? Or should you actually do the opposite? Should you take the path least followed? Should you create your own path? Well, that's exactly what entrepreneurs do. That's what dream makers do. That's what visionaries do. They create their own path. They create their own dream out of thin air. It's almost magical when you think about it, because they invested in themselves, their worthy idea, and they never stopped thinking about it, and they got the knowledge they needed to fulfill on that worthy idea. What does all this have to do with you making a ton of money in the markets? It has every single thing to do with it. Remember I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna show you how to make a crap load of money in the markets and how not to lose money? Well, let's talk about what that means right now. This is the traditional financial advice. This is what most people think wealth is made up of. Oh my God, I need an advisor. I need somebody that can tell me where I should put my money to make the most amount. Oh, and let's look to Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio is one of the smartest minds in the financial industry. He's one of the best there is. And this is his all-weather portfolio. And how does Ray Dalio invest his money? Well, let me tell you. He puts 30% in stocks. He puts 7.5% in commodities. He puts 7.5% in gold. He puts 15% in intermediate term US bonds. And then he also puts 40% in long-term United States bonds. So there it is, the magic portfolio. Go, do it. Do you know how to do that? No, that's why I hire a financial advisor. What if you didn't need to know any of this? Do you know what stocks to pick? Probably not. Oh my gosh, what commodities? What are commodities? 40% in long-term US bonds. What bonds? Where do I buy those? Intermediate term bonds? What do I do? Gold? Do I buy an ETF with gold? Do I buy physical gold? Where do I store the gold? These are the questions most people think about. And they are completely useless for you making and keeping your wealth. But what is useful has nothing to do with your portfolio and has every single thing to do with this: human emotion. Because this is the driver of the markets. This is the reason people make money, and this is the reason why most people lose money. Listen, if you were to look at the markets, if we were to look at the long-term broad markets, even the S&P 500 over a long period of time, they always go up, don't they? Yes, it's up, down, up, down, up, down, but over a long haul, they always go up. So when somebody says invest for the long haul, that's the best way to make money, they're absolutely correct. So why is everybody in the United States not a millionaire? How come most people aren't billionaires by this point? Because if the stock market just keeps going up and up and up, how come everybody's not making a ton of money? Because logically, if everybody just invested for the long haul, everybody would make a lot of money. But they don't. I bet you if you were to talk to most people about their investment portfolios, I bet you most people would tell you that they're not doing very well, that their portfolio doesn't look that great. And I can tell you why. Human emotion. You see, markets have cycles. And I'm not going to bore you with the cycles. I've done this plenty of times, but markets have cycles which lead to human emotion. Let me define that. If markets go up, down through economic cycles, short-term debt cycles, long-term debt cycles, productivity growth, and all that other stuff, none of which you need to know anything about unless you want to. But what you do understand is you understand when you lose your job, you have less money. When you lose your job, it gets hard to pay your mortgage. It gets hard to pay your car payments. It gets hard to pay college tuition. It gets hard to put food on the table. But if you're a double income family, well, you've always got the other spouse, but then they lose their job. Now you got a real problem. And also, what's another big thing? Fear. Fear of losing your job. When people fear losing their job because the economic conditions are slowing down, or they're starting to hear in their company, oh, there's going to be layoffs. They start fearing the loss of a job. And when you fear losing a job, what do? Families spend less money. And when families spend less money, what happens to businesses? They cut back. which means they lay people off, which then means more people lose jobs, which means more people fear the loss of a job that isn't even happening right now, which means families spend less, and around and around and around we go. And that is why the single most important thing to you making money in the market lies not in what you invest in, not in what your financial advisor puts you in, solely in human emotion. The single most powerful thing in all of the markets. So what does that look like? Well, let me define it. Let's start here. 2009, right after the financial meltdown, right after the Great Recession took everybody down with it. People were in disbelief. This is a human emotion. These are the human emotions along with market cycles. This is what I want you to understand. Forget about what I showed you with Ray Dalio's portfolio. Forget about everything you know. Understand this, and you have the key to lasting wealth. When the markets are at a low point or at the lowest point, you have disbelief that that actually was possible, especially right now. Can you imagine what would happen if the markets fell 40, 50, 60%? Well, by the way, they will. But can you imagine what would happen? People would just not even believe it. I can't believe it. And they would point fingers and blame. Disbelief leads to uncertainty. As the markets start coming back, there's a sense of uncertainty. You're not certain. Gosh, I don't know if it's going to keep going up. It could come back down. I'm just uncertain. And when you're uncertain, what do? Nothing. And that leads then, as the markets start going up and up, and this is very familiar for all of you. The last 12 years has been the longest bull run in history. So what I'm going to talk about now are human emotions that most of you are very familiar with. Optimism. Oh my God, it's going to the moon. Bitcoin going to the moon. Bitcoin will be 120,000 in no time. Optimistic. You are optimistic about the future prospects of the markets. Optimism leads to enthusiasm. You're so enthusiastic, oh, this is so good, which leads to a euphoria. It's almost just like a sense of, I can't believe how much money I'm making. It's a euphoric state, which then leads to right where we are now, overconfidence. Overconfidence, oh, I can never lose money. The Fed's always going to take care of us. If the markets start going down like they did during the pandemic, the Fed's just going to print more money. They're going to drop interest rates again. Oh, the Fed already said they're going to drop rates. Everything's going to be okay because you are overconfident. I drew a neat little picture. This is a bull and this is a bear. They're just sitting out there and they're looking at the clouds, and the bull is talking to the bear, and the bull says, oh, that one looks like an all-time high. Oh, and another one looks like an all-time high. Oh, another all-time high. All-time high right there, look. And the bear is just like, what the? This is where we're at right now. This is overconfidence. It's always going to be a bull market. Oh, bull market here, bull market there. I can't lose. Put the money in the S&P, invest in the index funds. They're always going to go up as long as those magnificent 7 stocks that hold the entire S&P 500 keep going up, right? Overconfidence. This is why most people will lose money right now. Mark my words. I don't care what they're invested in. Overconfidence and euphoria are human emotions that will lead to people making bad decisions. Those bad decisions are going to result in them losing money, because what's next is right here. Human emotion called anxiety will kick in. And after anxiety will be a state of denial. Most of you don't even know what that means because we haven't hit that part of the cycle yet. We haven't gone low enough. But if you're old enough, you have felt this before. Denial. You are strictly in denial. You got your 401k statement and you are in denial. And denial will lead to panic, the biggest, most powerful human emotion of all. Because 95% of the population conforms to what other people do. When one person panics, everybody else starts to panic, and it's a rapid effect. It's a domino effect. Panic leads to mass sell-offs. Mass sell-offs leads to massive losses very quickly, faster than people can even react. Panic leads to capitulation, which leads to agony, which leads to depression. Oh my gosh, we are done, honey. We're never coming back. And then we begin the next phase: disbelief, uncertainty, optimism. The market is driven 100% on human emotion, and your gains or losses will be 100% determined by human emotion. And because you are right now in a state of euphoria, a state of overconfidence, at least most of you. The chance of you riding this roller coaster down to anxiety, denial, and panic, and capitulation, and agony, and depression is highly likely. As Social Security statistics would show, out of 100 people, only 5 of them, only 5% will be financially secure, which means only 5% of all the population has figured out the secret. They've figured out how to get ahead of human emotion. They've figured out how to create instead of conform. But 95% of the entire population, they conform. They just follow everybody else. They just do what everybody else does, and they don't even know why they do it. And they follow this roller coaster down because the stock market is only driven by 2 emotions. All of those things can be summed up into 2 emotions: fear and greed. Fear and greed. FOMO, fear of missing out. That's greed. So how do you beat this? You get ahead of it. You stop playing into FOMO. You stop thinking everything's going to the moon. You stop listening to 95% of the people that are trying to tell you what to do, and you almost do the opposite of everybody else. So when everybody else is buying, you should probably be selling. And let me show you what that looks like. Now, this drawing isn't exact, but I tried to do the best I could. I pulled up an index, and I pulled it up from 1960 straight through to where we're at today, and I just tried to show you, and I really condensed it, but I tried to show you how the markets have performed since 1960. These negative numbers, negative 20, negative 30, negative 40, negative 60%. These are positive numbers, plus 20%, plus 40, plus 60. And you can see, I just laid in some of the different human emotions. When we were down here in the 60s, or down here in the dot-com crash, or down here in the Great Recession, or down here during the pandemic, fear, panic, disbelief, they were all part of it. But as we started climbing up, and I drew a line right in the middle at 0, as we started climbing up, we started to feel those others, the optimism, the excitement, and all of that. But how many of you can sincerely say that during any of these period of times, all you did is you got rid of human emotion and you said, you know what? Everybody's going in, I'm getting out. And what you did is you got out and you bridged the gap. That's all we're doing. We're building a bridge. You bridged the gap. I got another gap that I always like to talk about bridging, and it's a really easy one. It's a knowledge bridge. And right now I can help you with that because everything I'm talking about now, there's a lot more to this, but I'm just trying to get that human emotion part out. So let's get emotional. And right now I'm gonna get emotional, and I need you to click that button, subscribe. Oh, coming in hot. There's a little bell up top. Yeah, sorry, got excited. Human emotion. Smash that bell. Get it. Get it. All right, anyway, back into it. My lights no longer work. Awesome. I'm always breaking stuff. Well, you know what? If you get out of the market when everybody else is overconfident, yeah, you know what? Everybody's gonna tell you you're wrong. You're broken. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna bridge over all this nonsense. You're gonna bridge over it. You don't even need to know, this isn't market timing. I don't care when you get out. I don't care how you get out. Call your advisor, call your 401k, just go online. I don't care how you get out. But Warren Buffett sums it up really nicely. And he says the best way to make money in the markets is to buy low, sell high, and don't lose money. You notice how Warren Buffett never said buy at the lowest point? He just said buy low. So what is buying low? Anywhere down here, anywhere down here, anywhere down here. And you know what he said? Sell high. He didn't say sell at the highest point. He said sell high. What is high? Look at your statement. What do you have a gain in? It should be easy to figure out. Which stocks, which mutual funds, which ETFs do you own that you have a gain in? Sell them. And if you buy low and sell high, you can't lose money. But then you're like, yeah, but then what? I got to invest for the long haul. Great. We'll still invest. But bridge it. Put your money in a safe asset like U.S. Treasury bonds, U.S. T-bills. Why is it that banks right now, high yield savings accounts, pay you almost 5%? Well, it's because banks can go out and earn more than 5%. Want to know where banks put their money to be able to pay you 5%? A T-bill paying more than 5%. You know what you could do? You could just buy the T-bill. Cut out the banks. Be your own bank. Go out and do what the banks do. Mimic them. Buy the T-bill. Oh, I don't know how to do that, Chris. Oh, I don't know, go to treasurydirect.gov. Not making a recommendation or a suggestion, but I'm just simply telling you, why don't you just mimic what the banks do? because that's how they pay you what they pay you on a CD, a money market, or a high yield savings. They're making more than you are. If they're paying you 4 or 5, they're making 6 or 7 or whatever they're making in T-bills. Not 7, but they're making more. Why don't you just mimic that in your 401k? Get out of the high risk ones and put money in the low risk ones. Just don't even need to know what you're looking at. Just look at high risk up here, bad for right now. I want to get out of that and I want to go low risk. Money market, stable value, government bonds. You don't need to be an expert here. Just buy low, sell high. What's low right now? Treasury bonds. Interest rates have just gone way up. That means treasury bond prices have gone way down, which means it's a buying opportunity. You can buy low. I'm not giving you investment advice. Matter of fact, here's a disclaimer right here that I want you to read really quick. I'll give you a second. Okay, all done with that disclaimer? Great. Now we can get back to this. I'm not making recommendations. I'm talking about human emotion, and the best thing that you could do to combat human emotion is get out when everybody else is in. And then when everything goes down, you're gonna start hearing it. You're gonna talk to your friends at work. You're gonna talk to your family members.
Oh my God, did you see the markets today? Oh, I lost 30%. I don't know what to do.
And you're just like, oh boy, should I tell them that I didn't lose any money and I actually made money today? No, that would just make me rude. But I'm gonna do it anyway. Oh wow, you're down 30%? Check my statement out. I made 5% today. How did you do that? Oh, I just understood human emotion, and when everybody was buying, I was selling. And I just moved my money into safe assets like treasury bonds. And well, when the market goes down, everybody's money flows to the safe assets, which increases the price. And when the markets go down, what else happens? The Fed drops interest rates. And when the Fed drops interest rates, treasury bonds go up. It's just an inverse relationship. Oh, you want a picture? No problem. Got that too. Right here. Your financial advisors learned it like this in their Series 7. How do I know that? Well, I was a financial advisor for 16 years. And yes, I had my Series 7. And I remember learning this. I remember learning a lot about this. And all it was is a teeter-totter. When interest rates go up, the price of bonds goes down. The longer the duration, the more the price goes down. So the longer the term, if it's a 30-year treasury bond, the price fluctuation is greater than a 10-year treasury bond. And then the opposite happens. When interest rates go down, the price of bonds goes up. So it's kind of the opposite of the overall markets and the indexes, because if the indexes are going up, bonds are probably more than likely kind of down. But just think of it this way. Interest rates go up, price of bonds goes down, creating a buying opportunity. Plus you're paid. As of 3/1/2024, 30-year treasury bonds issued by the United States government paid 4.34% interest. That's what they paid. And you could buy them at $96.97. Par is 100. So they're at a discount. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is the price is low, and we know the next step, because the Fed's already said this, Jerome Powell's already said this, they're looking at dropping interest rates in 2024. And if they drop interest rates, remember the teeter-totter, if interest rates go up, bond prices go down. But if interest rates go down, bond price goes up. Or the X. Interest rates go down, the price goes up. Buy low, sell high, bridge the gap. The most important part that you should have honed in on is human emotion. What emotions do you want? Do you want panic? You want to be depressed? You want to be anxious all the time about what's going to happen next? Or do you just want to be calm? It's really your choice. The faster you understand human emotion and how it will affect your investment decisions, the faster you'll be on your way to wealth. Because you will no longer invest using emotions, you will invest using logic. Because when you get rid of emotional-based investment decisions, you focus on pure logic, and you are able to take a step back and make accurate decisions, decisions that best suit you, not knee-jerk reactions. And you know what then will happen? When you start making logical decisions, when you stop trying to chase everything that's winning and you start just looking at everything as what is my goal and how do I want to get there, and can I handle the human emotion, which I can tell you right now, based on past, you can't. Oh, yes, I can, Chris. I can invest for the long haul. Yep, you're investing for the long haul, just like your advisor told you, just like your 401k people told you. Invest for the long haul. Don't ever sell out of this. Just stay the course. You'll never lose money until you lose your job and you can't pay your mortgage and you can't put food on the table for your family. And yeah, they're going to come in the middle of the night and repo your car. You gonna stay invested? You just gonna stay the course, the long haul? No. You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna sell your investments and use it to put food on the table. You're gonna use it to make sure that car doesn't get towed. You're gonna use it to make sure that there's a roof over your family's head. You will make the wrong decisions because you will have to, because human emotion got the best of you. This is fact, folks. I have seen the ugly side of this. I was an advisor through the Great Recession. I know what human emotion does, and it makes people make bad decisions, very bad decisions. Decisions that cost them their retirement, decisions that cost their family, decisions that lead to divorce. The number one reason for divorce is money. Don't let money determine your family's future. I endorse this message. I want to finish up on this. This is a quote from the book, The Art of War, a book you should all read. And I'm just going to read this one quote. It is the unemotional, reserved, calm, detached warrior who wins. Not the hothead seeking vengeance, and not the ambitious seeker of the fortune. Sun Tzu. So when you think about who's going to win and who's going to lose, you better figure out human emotion. And more specifically, you better figure out your human emotion. With that being said, my name's Chris Naugle. This has been another episode of What Now? What's next for you? See you next time. Hey, if you like this video, check this one out. It's called Get Ready Now. See you next time.